pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
We just had this.
Roll call.
Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yep.
Marksville?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes. Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion made and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Today we have a public hearing. First of all, I want to welcome everybody in the chamber to our council meeting today. And also Dennis and Beverly from Clem and the Orange Daily Sentinel, and particularly you people that are home watching our council meeting. Today we have a public hearing, and has to do with the Wellness Center project. At its December 3rd, 2019 meeting, the council set this as a date and time to hear public comments on plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the Community Wellness Center project. The project involves a 6,000 square feet, two-story addition to the south side of the building, as well as a renovation of existing interior space. At this time, I'm going to open the hearing and ask if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the project or to adopting plans specifications. I will once again open the hearing and ask if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the project or adopting the plans. Hearing none, we will move on. The administration recommends approval by the council as the following schedule. Public hearing on December 17th, 2019, which is today. A bid letting set for January 21st, 2020. The awards contracts with February 4th, 2020. Plans are available at City Hall, and the final plans will be presented at the meeting. The financial aspect of this project is Lamar's Area Betterment Foundation, the Tax Increment Financing, or TIF, and the third one is a CAT grant. An estimate of the $1.75 to $2 million was given at the last council meeting. Any questions? Jason?
No, I don't have any specific things. Those are the final plans and the final specs over there.
We do have a representative, right? From our,
Yes.
From our engineering department, so if you have any questions for him, I'm certain he'll try to answer it.
Yeah, and the schedule is what it is. I didn't put a deadline there. There's a wishful deadline to have it done by. I'd like it done before winter of next year, so we don't have to get into having to protect certain aspects of the project because of cold and stuff. But you know, I think we've talked about our hard deadline as far as the CAT grant goes.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, I mean, so we have to have the physical construction project done in time to get that CAT grant closed out, so the paperwork all done. And so anything right now would be a guess on how long that's going to take. I don't know how long that would take.
Todd, will this construction disrupt any services whatsoever?
It will not disrupt services, but it is going to disrupt entry in and out of the building. We'll have to find alternate methods of getting people in and out of there, which in that building with just the way the exits and entrances are is going to be a little bit of a challenge at times.
Yeah, because the way it'll be phased is they'll do the addition portion first and make sure that that's, I believe, is done before we actually get into the renovation of the existing space. You know, so some of those things can move into that new space while the other one is being redone. And it's true. I mean, it takes off that whole front of the building as far as the main entrance.
We
we've got a $250,000 buffer here, kind of a gray area, and that's fine. Is there any way to tackle the roof issues and roll it all into one project? So it's,
I cannot include it in this project. We can do them at the same time.
that's what we.
We can do them at the same time, but I can't include it in this because it's not in the original.
Okay, and I'm fine with that,
That brand
but
deal.
I guess what I'm asking is if we're tapping TIF funds to do part of the finance on this, wouldn't it be wise to tackle that and just?
Yeah, we're gonna
amass
see,
the
yeah,
funds?
we, thanks to Greg Gangler, we got 2 estimates for that roof,
Okay,
okay? So, that's what we do have. So if you'll see that the bids have to be in by January 21 for this. I believe it's the same type of roof, okay, of what we're gonna do to repair the old one to what this one is.
Okay.
It's the same type of material. So the hope is, depending on who the low bidder is for the new roof,
save money on the old.
we'll see if they
right.
can't, if they haven't already given us a price, we'll try to get a price from them so it can be done at the same time.
That's what I'm after, right there, is, okay.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Did that answer your question?
Yes,
Any other questions in regard to the Municipal Wellness Center?
So you're telling us it's gonna be done a year from today?
Talking this morning, I hope it's done before.
I know, I'm giving you a buffer.
You're not far off, though. You're not far off. The date we talked about this morning was December 1st.
Okay, well,
I want to expand on that. I know Jason, that man sitting right over there, our engineering company, he needs to agree, and Todd, the 3 work together.
I'm done, I thought that they should get to the microphone and agree, versus just sit there and nod their heads.
If they feel comfortable, and you feel more comfortable, why isn't it?
Well, I just wanna make sure that we didn't say, no, winter or
You know, and-
late fall.
and I will
That's-
say-
That's such a,
Ken, I think you brought it up last council meeting about making them available. So from the day after the council meeting, the plans we had at the time and those pictures have been there. Okay, and so now there are the final plans, and we'll keep them there. I mean, if somebody wants to come in and look at them, they can do that.
okay, sounds good.
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 19-32 on plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the Community Wellness Center project.
Second motion?
Motion made and second to adopt resolution number 19-32 on plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate cost for the Community Wellness Center project. Do we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Goodchild?
Yes.
Borrego?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Swift?
Yes?
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion carried. The next thing on the agenda is the general discussion, and the way we handle our general discussion is if anybody has any questions or comments or concerns, good things to say about the city, we ask them to step up to the podium, state their name and address, and the council can't make any decisions today, but they're always willing to listen to what the situation is. So, do we have anybody out there that's interested in general discussion? I'll ask once more. Anybody for general discussion? Hearing none, look at John. Going up to thumbs award.
My last thumbs up opportunity, and I wish to thumbs up for all the excellent employees we've had over the past 20 years in this city and for the fine work they do.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Clark?
Yeah, thumbs up, Johnny. When you do hold positions on boards and councils, and you gain a new respect for anybody that's willing to do it. Doesn't mean you always have to get along, doesn't mean you always have to agree, but you gain respect for what all goes into it. So thumbs up to you. Thank you for the last 20 years.
Thank you.
Rex?
Yeah, I got a couple things. One is, all you people don't have to adjust your TVs. We are in different positions. We're not sure if this is the correct protocol or the not correct protocol, but we went to the oldest guy on this side, the next oldest seniority on that side, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But as mayor pro tem for almost forever, I I've been in every seat except Johnny's, I think. So that means a lot of times we weren't probably right. That's the first thing. The second thing is more, 'tis the season. You know, we had the Pioneer Village, we had the Light Parade, we've had church concerts, we've had preschool concerts. Mr. Murphy and I were at one the other day, it was just gorgeous. We've had middle school concerts, we've had seniors sing hallelujah chorus and stuff like that. If you didn't partake or attend some of those events, shame on you. We've got a great time, and those are great events. Thanks for everybody that participated.
Thank you, Rex. I would second that. By all means, a lot of things going on
Yep.
in first class.
It's a wonderful first class
And
town.
I love to see people have smiles on their face and have fun, and boy, we've had the opportunity to see that within the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
Okay, Ken?
Well, I'd like to thank the mayor for agreeing all these buses into town. And there's been a bunch of them, so we do appreciate the effort you put in and the way you represent the community.
Thank you, I appreciate those fine comments. I think, checking here the other day, and I think we've had over 50 in right now, so it's good. And the thing that is very gratifying is they're coming from all over. Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota. And the thing that's most gratifying about anything is the fact that you cannot believe the comments, the positive comments we hear about this town. So what it does is gives us a sense of direction that we must be doing something right, and we need to continue to go along that program. Thanks again. Steve?
Two, I just echo what Rex had said about the concerts there, Gavin and communities. Tons of kids. I looked at the program today, and there were so many kids listed, and all of the kids that are involved in chorus and band and orchestra and all of that. We've got good youth in this community, and they do a great job. And then thumbs up to Johnny as well.
Thank you.
And I too, John, wish you well. You're very deserving of it. You've done a tremendous job for this city. Okay, moving on to the consent items. All items listed on the consent agenda and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today we have 7 of them. First one is approval of the December 3rd, 2019 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of the bills for period ending 12/13/19. Number 3 is a monthly financial statement for the November 21st, or November 2019. Number 4 is the urban revitalization tax exemption request. Number 5 is the mayor and council staff assignments for the year of 2020. Number 6 is the commercial solid waste collection license. And number 7 is a new 5-day liquor license for the Lamar's Arts Council. Anybody wants to pull any of these to talk about them before we vote?
Motion to approve consent items 1 through 7.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to the consent items 1 through 7. I believe we need a roll call, don't we, Beth? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
I would like to point out our bank balances are still all at 1.5% to 3% interest rates, and that's on $15 million. So we're coming in the budget season. That's going to supply us with a couple $100,000, not only for the general fund, but also the sewer and water fund that we wouldn't be getting if the local banks wouldn't have stepped up and raised the interest rate on the city money. So I want to thank the banks again for doing that, but we're doing everything we can to try to keep everybody's taxes reasonable.
Thank you, Rex. Very, very good. Okay, moving on to the action items. The first one is a list of fees, license, and charges. Attached is a list of various fees, charges, and license, which shows charges, as follows. Number 1 is the current 2019 fees, license, and charges. And number 2 is the proposed 2020 fees, license, and charges. The committees and the staff recommendations are listed on the attached spreadsheets in red. I assume you've had an opportunity to look all these over, so if anybody has any questions, why, We need to talk about them now.
Motion adopting resolution number 1932 approving 33, excuse me. Approving and recommend list of fees, license charges for the calendar year of 2020.
Motion, or is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second adopting resolution number 1933, approving the recommended list of fees, license, and charges for the calendar year of 2020, with or without the amendment. Can we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Knapp,
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Swift.
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Gretchen.
Yes.
The next one on the action items is the industrial sewer user ordinance. And changes are being proposed to Chapter 100, Industrial Sewer Use Compliance Enforcement of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances. Attached is an ordinance specifying the changes. TKN, which is ammonia nitrogen, has a measurable discharge limit in the city's discharge permit, as well as individual agreements with Wells Enterprises and Dean's Foods. However, this has not been referenced in Chapter 100. The amendment adds a TKN to the chapter. The amendment also addresses administrative penalty charges. All listed charges are being proposed to double. The recommendation is the Public Utilities Committee met on December 5th, 2019, and is recommending the proposed changes. Questions from any council on this?
Somebody explain to me what this is.
Jason?
Kind of hard for me to vote on something I have no idea what we're voting on.
I'm basically going to be repeating what TKN, okay, so in our ordinance, well, in our permit, I should say our wastewater permit, there are limits, okay? There's probably 6, 7 different items like TKN, okay? Oil, grease is one, and so there's about 6 or 7 that have limits. TKN has been in our permit, but has never been, it's had a limit, but that limit has never been stated in our ordinance, okay?
So are the other 6 in our ordinance?
Yes,
So
Yeah.
how come this one didn't get on our ordinance?
it's been a while since we've done the ordinance.
Or it came in later.
But, I mean, so what it's doing is adding the key TKN. Wells, this chapter strictly involves Wells and Dean Foods. Those are the only 2 this chapter really applies to. Those are the 2 big industrial users. They've already, they've had limits on TKN discharge coming out of their plants. And that number has always been set by the DNR. So they already are held to a standard, so it's already being tested for, all of that. But it's just never been in our code of ordinances. And then as far as the fines go, fines have been in there. But if you look at what our fines are, very minimal. Even doubling them still is somewhat of a joke, because they're, you know, as much as the 2 industries go over, when they do go over, it's a very minuscule amount that they're being fined. The day, December 5th, when the public utilities met, there were 2 representatives from Wells at that meeting, so they're aware of this. There was no objection from them to this. And then also Dean Foods has been notified that this was coming to council. said, the two entities that it applies to are notified. I got no response, good or bad, back from Bean Foods.
Well, one thing I would ask you to do, Jason, is before the second reading on this, is to contact both industries again. Make them aware that we're having the second reading, because we all know what happened with the rate increases. And it's no fault, that's no big deal, okay? But we need to reach out to them verbally and say, we're having our second reading here, guys, this is your time to talk. You know what I'm saying? So, so we don't come in behind and go, wait, we didn't realize this, okay? So,
Will do.
okay, good enough.
Is that,
Clarify
Well-
your question?
You're acting like it's a big deal that we double, but then doubling is nothing. So, what, we triple or
It's a step
quadruple
forward.
or whatever.
It's a step forward.
Is there a dollar amount, or is it a dollar amount based on
I don't know
how
what,
bad it is?
Ron's not here today, but I didn't do the individual comparisons with other communities.
Okay.
Just what comments that came out during the meeting of the Utilities Committee is, even if we double it, it's still low compared to
Correct me
others.
if I'm, Kenny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think part of that discussion was had, and I think you're right, Rex, but you have to keep them realistic too.
I'm not worried about keeping it realistic, I just wanna make sure that if we're supposed to be testing for this, then it's in the ordinance, and we don't wanna have somebody come back and say, well, you haven't tested for it for the last 22 years, so why is it all of a sudden gonna be a fine today? So that's why I kind of agree with Clark that we need to make sure that we reach out to them with a letter and an email, both forms. That way they can't say they didn't get it for some reason or whatever.
Mike, does enforcement become an issue if you get,
The DNR and Wells, they've been testing for this, correct?
Yeah.
That's been going on.
The testing gets sent to.
but I'm saying that's fine.
So-
If Jason has said that, you know, several times they have gone over, that the fine is so minuscule, and Rex says, well, are we fining enough?
I've-
And then if it gets too much, you start getting challenged saying, this is ridiculous. So where's,
Well, I mean, there is a point where the fine could get too much of a penalty. We're not anywhere close to that.